So after this, you had, so I'll read this. Andy's open for offers. So this is from Match Magazine 1984. And it says, Andy Ritchie has joined Clydebank on a month contract after rejecting an offer from FA Cup killers Blackpool, giant killers Blackpool. But the big man's long-term future remains uncertain. He said, I will be playing for Clydebank for a few weeks. After that, I just don't know what will happen. I want to stay in the game if I can and hope to do a good job for the club. If that can interest a few other sides, then so much the better. I could have signed for Blackpool. I spent a few days at Bloomfield sampling their setup, but they only offered a contract to the end of the season. Obviously, with the hassle of moving my wife and kids to Blackpool, I wanted a longer commitment. Andy's talents will clearly be an asset to Clydebank in their bid to win promotion to the Premier League. But for Andy, the next few weeks gives him the chance to show any interested parties that the magic which won him Scotland's Player of the Year award in 1979 is still on tap. So, I mean, you've spoken to Tom before, so you're aware that we are Clydebank supporters. So this is what we've been building this whole show up to. It's just this one little article. So,
I think most of their games postponed for the weather. That time you were at Clydebank, Andy, I think you only managed to play twice or something.
Well, it started. It says that I'd be hoping to go back and show my skills again and that. See, to be honest with you, my career was finished at that time. It was gone, and I knew that, I was trying desperately for to hang my hat on something, or some bolt of lightning throughout the sky would turn it round about, And I got a phone call from Jack Steedman. I didn't really know Jack Steedman particularly well, but I'd heard of him. And he invited me down to Kilbowie Park. Kilbowie, I couldn't remember the name of it there, to speak to him about coming in. And he had a look at me and he could see that I was out of shape and everything else, But he wanted to do something. So he sorted out a deal. He said, we'll trial it for a month. And I thought, well, I'm not doing anything else anyway. So I asked him for a lot of money. Well, a lot of money, Clydebank terms. He wasn't too sure about it. I said, well, I'm not coming for the month then. And he eventually agreed to it. So we signed the contract. It was a Tuesday. And we were supposed to play Ayr United on the Wednesday at Kilbowie. And I got up on the Wednesday morning, there was 5 or 6 inches of snow outside my front window. And all the games were cancelled for a month. So when the games get back on again, that Ayr United Cup tie had to be played. Alan McNally was playing with Ayr United. That's how I remember that game. And my contract was up on the Tuesday. The game was on the Wednesday. So Jack came in and said, we'll get everything sorted. If you just sign this contract, I'll register it for another month. I said, you'll only register it for another month if you give me another month's money. But I've paid you, you've not played any games, not this. He started with, I said, I don't care. I was available for them. The games were off. That contract's out. You need to sign another one. He says to me, what I'll do then is I'll organise it and have the money sorted out and you go and play the game. I said, right, you have the money sorted out, that'll be fine. Anyway, I went and down to the park for the game on the Wednesday night and Jack appeared. He said, I'll sort your money out after the game. So I played the game. I went in. He said to me, no, we don't want you to come back. Don't bother. So I played the game for Clydebank, probably their best paid player ever, for 4 weeks' wages, one game. I only played one game for Clydebank. I think Ayr United beat us that night. And see, to be honest with you, I couldn't have cared less anyway. But that was, that was Jack Steedman, I think, He says, we'll sign for another. And he obviously watched me play that night and thought, nah, I'm not paying any more money for him. And that finished my very, very short career at Kilbowie. Great games against Clydebank when I was at Morton, right enough. We always had some spankers. Some absolutely great places. In fact, Mark McGee got his move to Newcastle United on a performance at Kilbowie one night when he destroyed Clydebank himself. Newcastle signed him the week after that. You had some good players in there.
Yeah, we did, aye. I think Mike Larnock got the move to Newcastle just at the same time as Mark McGee went, and obviously with Davy Cooper.
That's right.
And then going on Tommy Coyne, Bobby Williamson, guys like that. Jack Steedman.
Jerry McCabe was a smashing player for Clydebank. Smashing football player. In fact, my first ever game for Morton was against Clydebank at Capello on a miserable Wednesday night. The Coop played that night as well. The other big boy played up front with Mike Larner, Blair
Miller.
Blair Miller. He was a talented boy, but unorthodox football player. But he was effective. He was strong. He could score a goal. He was a football player to Mike Larner, the runner. You know, instead of Newcastle signing either Andy Ritchie and Mark McGee or Blair Miller and Mike Larner, they come up with this smart-ass idea that they would do a mix and match and took Mike Larner and Mark McGee and they never played together at Newcastle. You know, that was the thinking of it all. But there's some smashing players. Jim Fallon was a great player as well. Jim Fallon was too nice a guy to be a football player. You know, especially a centre half when it was expected in those days that you gave out a couple of Saurians.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Jim didn't, because he would earn more money in his physiotherapist role if he'd gave out a few yins, you know.
Yeah.
A few right sore ones to people, and then he could have nursed them back to health again for a few quid. Jim Fallon's a lovely guy. He helped my family many years ago when he was a physiotherapist at a rehab centre in Uddingston, and he helped my brother who had a very serious car accident, and he helped him back to his feet again and helped with rehabilitation for about 2 years after that. But even in the football, Jim Fallon was a nice guy. As I say, too nice to be a football player.
Yeah. So my football hero, Andy, is Jim Gallagher. So that's my hero of all time. So what any
gal.
memories, Big Gal?
He was unorthodox, wasn't it? Big Jim would make saves out of absolutely nothing. He'd pull things out the back of the net, but you always thought he'd maybe give you a wee chance, you know. He would maybe, not being disrespectful, he'd maybe miss time one, or he'd come at the wrong time or what have you. I always had that wee feeling off Jim. But it was a smashing big goalkeeper, you know. How long was he there at Clydebank with you?
He was 72 he arrived, wasn't it? And so it must have been about...
He left, aye.
Yeah, did he get a testimonial?
He did, yeah.
Did he? Good. Because I knew he was there a long time, and he was very popular with the supporters. Just surprised living it. But we touched on it earlier on in the podcast, the amount of good goalkeepers that were flying about up here. You know, that every club's goalkeeper was a big marker for clubs down in England, you know. And you would have thought Jim would have been absolutely ideal for something like that. You know, he wouldn't have been big money. He wasn't coming for the Rangers or Celtic. You know, you were dealing with Jack Steedman, so similar to my own situation, maybe with Hal. Yeah. You know, it might have been more beneficial for Jim to have got a bigger club out of that.
Yeah.